And welcome back to Late Night Lately, the late night show. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the late night style podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. This is episode 101, and I've got 101 jokes for you in the monologue. I don't. I have about 5. First up. Sorry, that was very stupid. The FIFA World Cup started this weekend. These millennial parents. Looks like everybody participating will get a trophy. President Donald Trump was booed while he was attending the third NBA Finals game between the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs, and Trump referred to the boos as coming from the left wing, adding, "I thought it was very good. Yeah, it was certainly amazing. I think, mostly cheers. It was loud, and it was very enthusiastic," which is exactly how I lost the custody battle. I guess the jury didn't side with me. I'm sorry. The long-awaited UFC match taking place at the White House is this Sunday, which also happens to be Trump's birthday. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm rooting for dementia. Elon Musk's SpaceX started trading on the NASDAQ today as it launched its IPO, and it exploded before it even left the chart. Elon Musk is the world's first trillionaire. He's still ugly. And finally, Pope Leo met with Bad Bunny in Spain, where the populace refers to both men as Papi. That's the jokes. That's all the jokes I have for you. That's all. Whatever. Okay. Here's the thing. This show records on a Friday. I typically go throughout the week. I'll write setups, and then I'll do an ellipses, and then I'll worry about the jokes typically come Friday when I usually record this. Yesterday, I'm sitting there watching Wednesday night's Late Night with Seth Meyers, and he does a setup for Bill Gates doing talking to at a congressional hearing about Epstein. My ears perk up. I'm sitting there scrolling through the iPad. My ears perk up. And I go, this better not end the same way that I wrote a joke. I wrote a joke on Monday afternoon. And it ended with Clippy as the lawyer for Bill Gates. I was so mad. I screamed. I'm like, no! 6 p.m. on a Thursday evening. I'm going, no! Hi, buddy. Yes. So there you go. I remember when Trevor Noah was still the host of The Daily Show. And yeah, that's when late night was good. Late night used to be good. Conan was around. But I remember his writers, the Fallon's writers on The Tonight Show, and Kimmel's writers, and also Colbert's writers, they would... Because late night has such parallel thinking and things all happen at the same time and everybody essentially gets the same stories, you would often see basically the same joke, like Fallon would tell the same joke on the same night as Trevor Noah, or Kimmel would tell the same joke, and this happens even to this day. It's not that they're all sharing jokes or anything, buddy. I see you. It's just that this is just how it happens. Anyway, it was a good joke too. I was so proud of myself, and it was the first one I wrote. I was so excited. All right, let's get on with what happened this weekend late night. This weekend late night, everybody was back. Also, I want to say this. Last week, I forgot. Last week tonight, they were on. I do apologize. Who is that? Okay, it's a cat. Okay, so this week, Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show had Amy Adams and Eve Houston. Eve Houston, the daughter of Bono, and just a beautiful woman to see. And so is Amy Adams. Amy Adams was there talking about Cape Fear, and I watched Cape Fear. This is a very true thing that happened last Friday when I was watching Cape Fear. Friday night, before the game, I was sitting there watching Cape Fear, and Amy Adams spoke for the first time, and I went, "Oh, she's doing an accent." And then I realized where Cape Fear took place, and I went, "That makes sense." It's not that it was a bad accent, but it just surprised me. I went, oh, she's doing an accent. Amy Adams is also in this movie called Night Bitch. I think that's what it's called. Is it Night Bitch? Night Bitch. Amy Adams. Yes, it's called Night Bitch. It's all one word, and it's about a woman who pauses her career to become a stay-at-home mom, and then something happens with her maternal instincts in the evening. You'll just have to find out. It was a nice little indie movie. I think it was indie, yeah. It's a supernatural indie movie. So there you go. Luis Omar Tapia was there as well. Penn and Teller did something. And then we had Matt Damon. Matt Damon is partnering up with a couple of companies to help get water to underserved regions. So that was very nice. But he's doing some type of rap thing. But that night he did not rap. Black Thought rapped over his voice. Like they did a little dub thing, and it was very fun. Josh O'Connor was there. Speaking of which, I just got back from a couple hours ago. I had a half day at work, so I saw Disclosure Day. Oh man, it was. I enjoyed the movie. Getting there was a hassle. I was again. I had a half day, but I don't start work until 10, so I usually go grocery shopping. Before then, the grocery shopping was extended, and I got back here at 10:45 or so, very close, like 10:30, 10:45, and I was just gonna bike to the movie theater. It's a 10-minute bike ride. It would have been like a 15-minute car drive, because you're in a car, but on a bike I could take the belt line and get to the movie theater. And when I tell you I got there, I had to do some work stuff. So and I'm okay with missing trailers. I had to put away the groceries, do some work stuff, and then I bought a Publix sandwich. That was nice, because I already planned for that. So I just packed this book bag behind me and got in the car. Oh, got on the bike, and I basically left here at like 11:05, and I got there at I left here at 11:10 because I had to walk downstairs. Anyway, I got there at 11. Because it was 25 minutes. So it was a 25-minute trailers. I got there at 11:25, and then I sat down on my seat at 11:27. And as soon as I walked up to that theater door to where the screen was, I heard Nicole Kidman, and I didn't miss a thing. I was so excited. I was the happiest I could have ever been. Then I came home, took Maverick out, sat in my underwear for a little bit because I was just drenched in sweat. And then I went to the pool. Anyway, Sarah Pigeon was there. I don't know who this woman is. Oh, she portrayed Carolyn Bessette in the Love Story TV show. Okay. Well, I won't be watching that. Tommy Brennan did stand up, and look, he's going to land on his feet after SNL. He's a white man. He's going to be good. A white comedian. He's going to be great. There was also Kenny Loggins did some songs with Jimmy Fallon and the Roots for Classroom Instruments. Hugh Jackman, Niall Horan were there as well. Niall Horan performed. Elle Fanning was there. She looks just like Sarah Pigeon. They both look exactly the same. They all. Like all the names I just said look the same. No, Elle Fanning and Carolyn Bessette, lady. Sean Hattasey and Frankie Grande rounded out the week, and Anthony Ramos performed a new song. For Late Night with Seth Meyers, we had a couple of closer looks, and then Josh Gad and Andrew Rannells sat down on the couch to talk about the anniversary of the Book of Mormon, as well as the theater catching fire, which was able to be rectified within like a week or something like that. Hannah Berner was there promoting her stand-up special. I'm watching The Shield right now on Hulu and I guess Disney Plus. And guess who's that trailer is not doing it any favors. I'll say that much about Hannah Berner's special. Same thing for Lisa Ann Walter. I don't know, and I don't think Lisa Ann Walter is even a stand-up. I would rather watch Hannah Berner's anyway, but I have no interest in either one of those. The Leave 'Em Alone guy appeared, which was John Lutz. And then Amy Adams came down, Dave Matthews was there, and he was just excited to be there. Oh my gosh, Dave Matthews is a cool guy. He was just so excited to be there. Jenny Hagel, writer Jenny Hagel, was there as well, and she has a new book. Jenny Hagel writes on the show. Emily Blunt premiered. They're promoting Disclosure Day, but I don't even think they talked about the movie. They just it was because I think Seth and her are friends, so they just talked about stuff. Mike Schur, writer Mike Schur, and Joe Poznansky were there talking about their new book. And then Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers and Phineas were on the Thursday night's episode. And then this morning, or I guess when I got back from the movie, I see, if you don't know, Seth Meyers has a short form show on Late Night with Seth Meyers YouTube called Corrections, where he allows for, and I don't know why he does this, I guess the Emmy chances. But because the show can be nominated for an Emmy, the Corrections, it can be nominated for a short form Emmy or whatever. Anyway, but there's typically in the last couple of months, he's been burned out on doing Corrections. Where Corrections is a show where fans can send in corrections for the show for the week, and he hates the people doing it. It's a very good show. It's very funny, but he is burned out. And for the last couple of months, I would say for the better half of the year, these episodes of Corrections have been, usually they're like 20 minutes or so. They've been like 10. And now this one's 26. And I just thought, oh, he's ending this because he doesn't want to do this anymore, which I think would be funny. Then Jimmy Kimmel Live this week started off with Tom Hanks and Eric Andre. That's a good 1-2 punch. The Chicks performed, and they did Not Ready to Make Nice, and I fucking love that song so much. I love the Chicks so much. Patton Oswalt was there. Coleman Domingo. Olivia Rodrigo performed, and she sat down on the couch. Zlatan Ibrahimovic was there as well. And then Olivia Rodrigo came back the next night, premiered a new song. Tim Allen was there, and then Jack Quaid. On The Daily Show, Jon Stewart sat down and I'm going to say did one of the best monologues I've seen him do, because he performed as Elmo for the last half of the monologue. And it made it seem like there were no correspondence there. That's what I feel, because no one played the role of Elmo except for Jon Stewart. And Elmo just has a problem with gambling. And it's just a very funny bit, talking about the NBA Finals. He also spoke to Jane Fonda to talk about this First Amendment conference she's holding. Desi Lydic hosted the rest of the week, and she sat down with the lovely Laverne Cox and Nina Dobrev, the lovely Nina Dobrev. And then Troy Awada had a short piece as well. And then Desi sat down with Chris Evert, and Martina Navratilova, the tennis pro. Martina Navratilova. I watch tennis, and I still can't pronounce her last name. Oh, but I can pronounce Sabalenka. Arena Sabalenka White. And Michael Costa and oh, Jesus Christ, Chad, you're so fucking embarrassing. Ronnie Chang sat down and did Sports War. Okay, so here's what I missed on Last Week Tonight. And the only reason I know that there was another episode, there's an episode I missed, was because I loaded up HBO, I think, like that Saturday afternoon after I recorded this stupid show, and I went, oh no, it was that Friday night, because I wanted to watch something, and I went, oh God, I missed Last Week Tonight. So last week, on Last Week Tonight, John Oliver covered Trump's pardons. And then this week, he covered the new College of Florida. They're also doing something that I really appreciate, in that they are re-uploading bonus segments from past episodes. So you're getting just like a little extra thing during the week. It's pretty cool. All right, now let's talk about, I was going to talk about SNL Tonys. Schmigadoon won a bunch of Tonys. If you don't know what Schmigadoon is the the Broadway musical that's based on the Lorne Michaels Apple TV produced musical TV show that lasted for 2 seasons. It's a great show. Unfortunately, when I watched a clip of the Schmigadoon performance at the Tonys, I think it was it the Tonys, or they also did it on Fallon, I think. Anyway, or maybe Kimmel, and it doesn't matter. But anyway, I saw the performance, and what I like about Schmigadoon the TV show is how diverse it is. It is so diverse, and it looks so fun and joyous, and the pastel colors are great. They captured all that except for the diversity. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Okay. Last night was the start of, or yesterday was the start of the World Cup, FIFA World Cup. And we had the premiere of James Corden's FIFA World Cup late night show. And what is it called? It is called FIFA World Cup on Fox After Hours with James Corden. Okay, I talked about this show last week. It is more or less a late night show or a FIFA World Cup recap in the guise of a late night show. And for better or worse, it is a comedy show that features soccer. Like that has a soccer theme. So I know I described it in 2 different ways, but that's really what it is. It is it's a show, man. Last week I said it featured his writer Ian Carmel from the previous series Late Late Show, and it also features a handful of producers from the previous show. What the show has going for it is Corden, because I know he likes footy. He brings his parents along, which is a cute little addition. And it's live, so it's a little looser, but that's also something that's to its detriment. On the back end, the things that I am not a huge fan of, I understand that he needs someone else to play off of. There's a special guest that, at least in this first episode, helps host the show, or that is just there. That's a third wheel, alongside Carmel and Corden. And I'm sure Carmel and Corden get along great. I'm sure they think each other are funny. But Corden needs to focus on that second person, or not have that second person there at all. I'm trying to decide. Because I don't think Carmel really adds anything. Ian Carmel adds anything to the show. I'm not not to be negative or anything, but I just don't think he's funny. There was they did a little taped bit with him where he went to a restaurant and tried some food from, I'm going to say a country, Bosnia. I'm just making that up, but it wasn't funny. It felt very flat to me. But again, the show is live. And that's fun, and it's noted by Mila Kunis saying something that they did have to take the sound out of. Ashton Kutcher was there, but he was just in the back hanging out with James Corden's parents. It's very funny when they cut to him, and he's having a drink, and what James Corden says is flirting with his mom. I will say I did enjoy the show because it's another thing from late night. And we're getting 24 episodes, so we know this has an end point. The show, there was a lot of stuff that was pre-taped. And again, it's a late night show. There's no monologue. They just kind of go off. I'll say this. There is a bit of a monologue in that they, at least for this first episode, took clips from soccer themed things or things in soccer's past, Ghost of Soccer's past, and they commented on them, and those weren't really funny. I don't know what the audience, they do have a live audience. I don't know what they want. I think they want to laugh. I don't know if they want to enjoy the show. I don't know what they want. I don't know what this audience is really gearing up for. I really do think I appreciate the live aspect, and I do appreciate that for the first episode, Corden came to Atlanta, and he came to Fayetteville. Atlanta and Fayetteville are two different places. Don't say you went to Atlanta. Say you went to Fayetteville, which is outside of Atlanta. They went to Fayetteville, where the National Men's Soccer Training Facility is, and it's this brand new facility, and it looks gorgeous, and they have all these pitches and everything, and it looks really cool. And he palled around with those guys, and that was really fun to see. And those those are the things that remind you that's what late night is. But I just and then the set on the show looks fantastic. It looks very reminiscent of what the his Late Late Show set was, and they have beers on there, and that's fun. I do think that's the they have some fun with this show. It's loose to a degree that the cat is licking herself on the table, and it's just really strange. I'm going to wipe that down now. It's loose enough to a degree that is a bit underwhelming, and it felt like you know how sometimes you make like a pizza in the oven, and it's cooked like 80% of the way, and then you go, well, I don't want to put this back in the oven. I'm just going to eat it, and you're basically eating raw dough at some point. That's kind of what this show felt like. Or it's like the instructions for the cookies say bake it for 11 minutes at 375, and you bake it for 10 minutes at 350, and you're like, oh, it's going to be gooey in the middle, but it's like too gooey, and it's just like falling apart. That's what this show was. He does take a dig at CBS. It's very funny. What else? I'm just trying to remember what else happened. I'm thinking that they showed teases of some of the VT of the videotape that they have of bits and stuff that they're going to do. I feel as though they will be bringing back some form of carpool karaoke. I don't know how, but they did feature Kylian Mbappe. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I have seen that name before, so I'm very aware. But they did feature that guy in a car with Corden, and they were laughing and seemingly singing. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I look again. It's 24 episodes, and we just lost Stephen Colbert, his show. So why not? Why can't this show just exist? This is fun. I wish they would write jokes. I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't bring joke writers with them, because that would be very hard. Doing this show as if it's a and I hate to say this, and I dame not to say this, but here we go. Dame. Dare not say this. But it kind of feels like an overproduced podcast, which is not good for broadcast. I was yesterday was Thursday, right? Yeah, yesterday I turned on the TV to watch women's golf and to watch men's golf, and I was scrolling through YouTube TV to get to the golf channel, and on ESPN and on Fox Sports 1, to that matter. I'm not sure about CBS Sports. They have, they essentially now just air podcasts. Mina Kimes' podcast is produced via Omaha Productions, which is Peyton Manning's brand. Anyway, and then like the Dan Le Batard show and all that stuff, like it's all just air. And then Pat McAfee's online show is essentially just the same thing but on TV. It's all just airing on TV. And it feels wrong. But then when you really think about it, this is just a side note. When you really think about it, for years and what feels like decades, but for years, ESPN has been airing their radio shows on television. And when somebody is commenting on the phone on the radio shows, they just show the switchboard and the levels for the audio. I thought about that yesterday when I was scrolling through. Like that's what I was like, what? Yeah, this is, like I tuned in to the Mina Kimes show because I like Mina Kimes and I think she's a very smart person with a lot to say about sports. And I just went, this is just a podcast. Same thing, and then on the Golf Network. On the Golf Network, they just air podcasts for like half the day. They have like Gary something's 5 Clubs with Gary something. What is that show called? 5 Clubs with Gary Williams. I was going to say Gary Williams, but I don't want it to be that boring. And it's not to say that they don't get, famous people or golf people on that show, but because they do. Even Rich, oh God, what's his name? Rich Eisen? Rich Eisen's show airs on Disney Plus. I think an hour or two also airs on ESPN, but I might be wrong about that. Anyway, all that to say, enjoy FIFA World Cup on Fox After Hours with James Corden. That is the name of the show. Enjoy it. It seems like they're going to have more time to build out this show, but man, I think this first episode is showing exactly what it is. Okay. I'm done. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see a video version, where you can see me talk to celebrities. I have a new interviews coming out next week, where you can watch those on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. It's the show is called The Interviews, and I interview famous people and semi-famous people and not so famous people. If you want to see a video version of this show as well as video versions of the other podcasts, LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs and Business Podcast, and the Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News Show, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Subscribe to the shows wherever your podcasts. Follow us on social media at cpluscomedy on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky, and me on those platforms at Chad Blackwhite. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.